Hi, is this Abelardo? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Perfect.
good.
Outstanding. Nice to see you.
Thank
And
you.
we have a lot of
This is
questions for
correct.
you. We have questions for you.
Thank you. Very good, John. Okay. I think we have a delay on the voices.
Is there a delay?
I think there is.
Echo. Can you still hear me or?
Well, I can hear you now. It seems it has improved. It's working now.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. So this is John, correct?
That's John. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Now,
Nice to meet you, John.
pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I understand that you're planning to ship a vehicle, Jira TDI
Correct.
2006
Yes.
to Panama, correct?
Correct. If that makes sense, and we heard something that there's some kind of restriction of used vehicles more than 10 years old, are not allowed to be imported to the country. But I don't know whether this would hold true or not.
No, not really. I mean, the restriction is about the mechanical conditions,
Okay.
right? So if the vehicle is in good shape, if it can pass smog test, if it can have certifications about the good shape of the vehicle, no problem.
Okay. No. Yeah.
Yes, no problem. So because we have imported older vehicles in the past from 1990,
Oh, wonderful.
the 1990s. So I mean that's already over 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's yeah. Or should we say 30 years?
Almost 30
Yes.
years, right?
So that's great
Well,
information.
yes, actually, you're right. Over 30 years. Yes, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So
My math was not good. Okay.
yeah.
So yes,
You
so
know.
I don't think you would have problems with a 10-year-old car,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
you will have to do some
Environmental. Yeah.
environment control certificates, pollution certificates, things like that.
Would that take place? Would that take place in the Panama, locally, or would have to be done here before shipping?
That would take place in Panama.
Okay.
That would take place in Panama. So that, along with a review with the police department,
Sure.
must be completed in order to be able to import the vehicle in Panama. Pensionado visas fully exempt import duties and taxes. Well, just import duties, because you do have to pay a tax. That is a value-added tax,
Okay.
which is about 7%.
Okay.
So you will have to pay a tax even if you exempt the import duties. But yes, she gets a full exemption on import duties.
Yes.
Under her pensionado
Okay.
visa.
Okay. Now let's talk about our aspirations for bringing in a brand new vehicle, because that not all models and makes are available in Panama. And let's say if we bring in a brand new electric vehicle in the near future, how would this rules and restrictions go about shipping one in?
Well, it's pretty much the same principle. You get a full exemption. You only get an exemption
Every 2 years.
Well, under the pensionado visa, it's one exemption only.
Only.
One,
Okay.
just for one vehicle
Got you.
on the pensionado visa.
Okay.
So if you use that exemption for the Jira, you wouldn't be able to bring a second vehicle with an exemption.
Understand. Okay.
But if you decide to ship the newer vehicle, you will get a full exemption, and you just pay the value added tax based on the CIF value.
Yeah.
It is important to know that it's the CIF value because you add the cost of the freight, of the international freight,
Yes.
and the cost of the insurance to the value that the Panamanian government
Is
comes up
added to
with.
the value of the vehicle.
Exactly.
Got
Correct.
understand. Okay. And the brand new vehicle or the pre-owned vehicle has to be already registered in the U.S. Registry, so it cannot go directly from the factory as a brand new to Panama, can it?
Not if you want to exempt
Okay,
import duties and taxes.
Okay.
So you must have a title.
On
The
hand.
vehicle must have a title ownership in the U.S.
Yeah.
and a registration in the U.S.
Yeah.
So you can apply for the import duties exemption.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I were to pay the full import duty of Panama to bring in a brand new vehicle, how much would that import duty rate be?
Well, that's usually about 35%.
35%.
On the CIF value.
Okay.
The CIF
Is-
value.
Is how about it is it possible to also to buy a container, either 20 or 40 footer, because our plans are to build a house from the scratch, and when we bring in the container, that we cannot just use 2 hours and leave all of our items to the rain. We need a place for them to be safely stored, and if there's a possibility of sell the container back to the company at later date, or I don't know how this would work. But do you have any suggestions or ideas that would make sense?
Well, to be honest with you, shipping in your own container has some challenges. So the way we know the containers owned by the shipper in the industry is SOC, shipper's own container.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So for SOC containers, the challenge is that most of the shipping lines don't like to take SOC because part of their business is leasing the containers.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
So sometimes it becomes, it's not that it's impossible, you just need to be aware that
Yes.
sometimes it is a little bit more difficult to find ocean freight or the SOC containers.
Gotcha.
That's one challenge. The other challenge is that you must get a seaworthiness certificate before a shipping line will
Accepts
accept your container.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you have the door-to-door service, meaning that we could have a container at our house here and it would be picked up perhaps to Fort Lauderdale or Miami or I don't know what ports you use.
Yes, yes, we could offer you we could offer this door-to-door service. So no problem at all. We can offer you from. I understand that you are located in Fort Lauderdale, right, or Miami area.
Yeah, close to Fort Lauderdale, a little bit about 40 minutes north from Fort Lauderdale. Okay. We're actually closer to West Palm Beach on the east coast of Florida.
Yes, usually we ship from the Everglades port.
Okay.
So you're very close to the area.
Yeah.
So we can either come to your place to pick up the vehicle, but that would increase the budget because we would need to bring a tow truck, a flatbed tow truck.
Yeah. Or could we drive could we drive it in there personally?
Yes, you can drive it.
Yeah.
You can drive it, but anyway, we will be needing that probably that flatbed, because usually the containers are sitting on chassis.
Oh yeah. So they're sitting higher would be very difficult to drive in without the.
Yes, you would need the flatbed.
I,
So we lift the vehicle, put it at the level of the container ground,
yeah,
and then drive it into the container.
correct.
Um,
Are there usually one or two vehicles and nothing else, or is can we combine our household goods, with the vehicle?
Yes, you can. You can combine your household goods with the vehicle. The household goods will also be granted import duties exemption. You will still have to pay the value added tax.
Seven, sort of like a sales tax. Yeah, sort of
Value added tax,
value
right?
added tax. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Value added,
Yeah, Europe in
right?
Europe they call it the same name, value added tax. Yeah.
Value added tax, right? So
Sure.
yes, it's pretty much that, about 7%
Okay.
on the values.
And the storage fees on the Panama harbor, the days where when the container sits there before it can leave, clear the customs.
Yes. Do you mean the fees at the port?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, there will be fees at the port. It's more at the destination port.
Correct.
So once that it arrives to the destination port, there has to be some handling of the container.
Mm-hmm.
For example, unloading the containers from the ship, and also moving them around with the forklifts and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that generates destination port charges.
Correct. Let's just for an example, should it sit there like a week, 7 days, before it has cleared the customs, and on its way to the final destination in Panama, how much would it approximately cost? The port fees.
Yeah, so it's two different things. One is the port fees, the port charges
And-
for doing the handling of everything.
And the value
That's
added.
you. Well, that's one thing. Let's call it the port charges.
Mhm.
That's usually something around $700 for a 20-foot container.
Okay. And we're talking approximately
And,
maybe 7 days or something similar.
Well, that's just the port charges, but you will also need to think about the storage fees. So those are two different things.
Yes.
One is the port charges, and the other charge is the storage fees.
Yeah.
So storage fees is what you pay for having your shipment at the customs bonded warehouse while waiting for the customs clearance, right?
Exactly. That I understand that now. Okay. Yeah.
The vehicles clearance, usually it's kind of slow. It usually takes from 30 to 45 days in customs.
In custom. Hey, my question is that would it be more advisable to go ahead and pay that 35% instead of would it be the same price than having it sit there for 30, 40, 45 days and paying the storage fees? Would that add up to similar? So it would be
Yes.
able to get it out faster.
Well, not really. That time usually is because they must do, as I explained, all these inspections, including the police inspection, many processes
Okay.
that are carried out. So it usually takes that time. That's something that you need to keep in mind. It usually takes from 30 to 45 days.
Understand. Okay. And the cost for the storage in the customs, 30 to 45 days, a 20 or 40-foot container, how much it is approximately?
A 20-foot container pays usually around another $700,
Uh-huh.
and a 40-foot container can pay around $900.
Okay. Not much difference size-wise. Okay.
Yes,
Now-
no much difference on the size.
Yeah. Now, let's for the household goods, the shipping materials, the bubble wraps, the boxes and the cloths and to protect them from being scratched in during shipping and so forth. Do you have these materials, and are they sustainable materials, and are they returnable after use, or how does this thing go?
You have two ways to do this. One is that you do the packing yourself, so you would have everything ready, already packed and ready to go. And we just come with the container. We place the container outside your property.
Okay.
So you would need to have enough space to park a large semi truck.
Yes.
That will come pulling the container, right?
Correct.
We park outside your door, and then we send a crew that will load everything into the container, including the vehicle. And if everything is already packed, we'll just load it into the container. But we can also do the packing for you. Now, doing the packing for you usually increase the budget for around from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the size, on the volume of the shipment, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But yes, if we do a full packing service for you, we will bring all the materials. Those will be disposable materials, so everything can be removed once that you get to Panama, and we do the final delivery for you.
Yeah.
We will unload everything for you at your property in Panama, and remove the debris on the same day of the delivery.
Now, since this is a rented container owned by the shipping company, how much time so the guys would actually do the unloading, and take the container with them right away?
Right. Actually, since the process for the vehicle will take longer.
Okay.
From 30 to 45 days, we will have to unload the vehicle and the household goods from the container into the bonded customs warehouse and return the container to the port. So we stop the detention fees, because you see the shipping lines charge you detention fees for every day that you hold the container after it has
arrived,
landed in Panama. Correct.
Very good. And what kind of an insurance does your company have?
Well, insurance is an additional service. Whenever we put a service for you, insurance will not be included. You always get the chance to get insurance as an additional service. That usually the rate for insurance usually ranges from 2.5% to 3.5% of the total value that you decide to insure.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Contents. Yeah. Now scheduling. How often do you ship to Panama, and do you use many carriers? Well,
yes. I mean, the way it works with international moving companies is that you have to work with agents.
Yes.
Right? There's no moving company in the world that can have a direct office in each single country. Yeah. So in our case, we have our offices are in Panama and in Costa Rica.
Gotcha.
So what we do is we work with certified agents in the U.S. They are the ones that will come to pick up your belongings.
Yeah.
And professionally accommodate them into the container.
Yeah.
And then ship the container to Panama.
Correct. Okay.
And then we take it in Panama once the container arrives.
Yeah. All right. Now, are there?
But yes.
Yeah. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Now, are there any brand new containers available to be bought in Panama for us?
Well, there could be, because I mean, Panama is a hub for ocean logistics, but it's just that we don't do the buying and selling of containers. You would have to buy your own seller for the container. But yes, there's probably an option, because I didn't mention that besides those challenges, or shipping the container,
Mhm.
you also would have to pay import duties and taxes on the container.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's really good to know. But
Yes, and
would it be
that's about
possible?
$1,500.
Wow, yeah, yeah, it's not worth it. Would it be would it make sense to perhaps if available to buy our own container from directly from Panama Harbor or close by and that could be put on a truck and driven to the destination.
I'm sorry, I lost you for a moment.
Let's say
Computer
if we
got cut
use the shipping company's container for the shipping on the seas from Fort Lauderdale or Everglades to Panama City, and then the contents would be checked out by customs officials,
Correct.
and 30-45 days, and if we would have our own container where the items could be placed, you know, and then put on a truck to be driven to the final destination in Cherokee, for example.
No, it would be about the same time, because if you ship the items and the vehicle together,
Mhm.
pretty much since they come under the same bill of lading,
Yeah.
under the same container,
Yeah.
they have to go through the same process.
Understand. Okay. Yeah. The idea is only that we would end up with the storage and the final destination, so we wouldn't have to shuffle, you know, to try to find a place, you know, where so they wouldn't
Right.
get wet in the rain and so forth.
Right. So, I mean, it could be a good strategy to perhaps get a container in Panama, but we would have to first clear customs. And after we have cleared customs, we can put everything into your container,
Yeah.
and then you can move it around.
That would be perfect. Yeah.
But yes, it would be a lot better if you buy the container in Panama
Yes.
and wait until everything has cleared customs.
That's great piece of advice. Thank you for that. Now,
Sure, you're welcome.
Now, let's see what in your experience, you know, when you do a lot of shipping to Panama as well, so and Costa Rica and so forth. Could you please tell us, you know, what are the items that the expats have regretted the most by having it shipped, and then they by getting there they really feel bad, you know, that we never should have done this in the first place, and you know, would it be better just to buy it here in Panama locally? Do you
Well,
have those kind of things that you can share with us?
Sure. Usually furniture. Furniture. It's usually a problem, because unless you have furniture made out of hard wood,
Yes.
right? It usually doesn't hold well in Panama because of the humidity, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So furniture is one thing, but that's for the good sake of the items, right? Of the furniture.
Yes.
But there's also some items that are not a good idea to include in your shipment, because that will cause your customs process to be delayed, and you will have to go through a special process that will end up costing a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's usually not worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about foods, or better say, any eatables.
Edibles. Yeah.
Anything that's edible. Also, no alcohol.
Yes. And no tobacco.
Right. No liquids.
Yeah.
No liquids. No chemicals. So no cleaning products.
Okay.
No beauty products.
Yeah.
Or body products.
Yes.
All of that needs to go through a special process through the health ministry.
Yeah.
So
we don't want any of that in the container. That would be really bad. Now,
yes, it's better to avoid also firearms, ammunition, weapons, things like that.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any, so that's not a problem.
Okay, no organic materials like seeds or soil.
Yeah.
None of that either. No fertilizers.
Okay.
You should be careful about, as you mentioned before, about tools and also electronics,
Yes.
high-end equipment, because you want your shipment to look like a regular used household goods.
Oh yes. Yeah. No new items used.
Preferably no new items. You may ship some new items, but it's preferable if you take them out from its original packaging and remove any signs of being new.
Yeah. Okay. So we may have to bring our desktop computer on the luggage, on the big luggage, ourselves.
That's probably better. Yes.
Not to leave it in the container.
Yes, and it will travel safer with you than in the container.
Sure. Now how does the process work as far as payment and time wise? Do you accept credit card or is it all cash?
All cash. We only work with bank transfers.
Okay.
We have a US based bank account, so it would be a domestic wire transfer. The way we work is we work on a quote for you. We send you a proper quote in a document with the precise cost of your shipment door to door. The extra charges will not be included in that quote because the extra charges are completely out of our control. When I say extra charges, I'm talking about the taxes, the 7% tax, also the destination port charges, and also the storage fees. All of those charges will always be estimations only, right? So the numbers I have given you are estimations based on what I have seen in my experience with other customers.
Gotcha.
But there's no way to know exactly how much it will be until it happens.
Yes.
Right? So those will not be included in the quote, but the door-to-door service will be a precise number that's usually valid for 20 days.
That's great. Okay, that pretty much.
Also, it's important to know that in order to consider that your service has been booked,
yes,
we request a 35% initial payment.
Okay.
The 65 remaining balance will be due by a maximum of 3 days after the pickup in the US.
Okay.
Yes, that is because if you think about it, we cannot wait until the shipment arrives in Panama. And that's another thing, the lead time, right?
Yeah.
It takes about 2 months for the shipment to get to Panama.
Got it. Okay.
So it would be like offering 2 months credit to all of our customers, and most of the expenses happen at the origin side.
That's understood. Yeah. Now, let's see. Now, when it comes to the container itself, how much advance notice do we need? Because our moving is may be 6 months away. So how would you recommend? How much time ahead of a time, heads up, do we have to give to the company to reserve a container for us?
Yes, we request at least 30 days
advance notice. Okay.
Because it's usually complicated, especially depending on the season that you ship. But yes, we request a 30 days notice. It is important that you know that after COVID-19, a common practice among the shipping lines is to overbook or oversell their containers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So sometimes it happens that even after you've already scheduled a date, they can call us 1 day prior to the scheduled date and say, "Oh, we're truly sorry, but we overbooked our containers, and actually we don't have any container available for you tomorrow. We will have to roll on 1 week or 2 weeks at your date.
Okay.
So to avoid that risk, we request that those 30 days, because when we book the service 30 days in advance, we are put in some kind of waiting list. So if we manage to be at the top of that in list, even if they overbook their containers, it usually doesn't affect us. It affects the people that's at the bottom of that list.
Gotcha. Now, what
That's why it's so
the item documentation? You know, we have to make an itemized list of all items shipping to Panama, and how do we provide that list to you, and you write it out, or how does this thing go? And
yes, you make that list. Well, it depends. If you take a full packing service,
yeah,
meaning that we are sending our crew to do the packing, they will do the packing list for you.
okay,
But if you do a self-packing, that means that you would have to make the packing list, and then you would have to send us a copy so we can do a Spanish packing list, because the customs authorities will require that the packing list is in Spanish.
only in Spanish.
But we will do that for you.
Yeah, okay. Very, very good. Well, I think this is about all the questions that we have for now, and so we can start planning the dates and so forth. So
yes, the other thing that I wanted to tell you, John, is that I'm going to check. I want to double check with my customs broker in Panama.
Okay.
Because you see, pretty much all the shipments that we have brought into Panama have been under the pensionado visa. Pretty much.
Okay.
That's like the most common one.
Sure.
So I want to check with the customs broker if there is a consideration for the friendly nations visa.
Yeah.
To exempt import duties and taxes. So let me look into that, and I'll be confirming. If there is a scenario where you can exempt import duties and taxes under the friendly nations visa,
yes,
I will let you know.
Perfect. That's really, really good. Outstanding.
Right.
This has been a really informative discussion, and we greatly appreciate it. And we start making our plans now. Now that we know more, how to proceed.
Yes, of course. You probably also want to know, because I mean, we have talked about the numbers for the extra charges, right?
Yeah.
But you probably have an idea of the number for the door-to-door service.
Okay. Let's compare the 20-footer and 40-footer. What kind of a difference are we talking about?
The difference between a 20-foot and a 40-foot is usually between $3,000 and $4,000.
Okay. So the cost, cost for the 20-footer, let's say from Fort Lauderdale or Miami to Panama City.
So from Miami, 20-foot container, it's probably going to look something like $10,000.
Okay.
That is if we do a self-packing service, meaning that we are not adding the packing.
Yes.
You will have everything already packed and ready to go.
Yeah.
If you wanted to consider the full packing and you are shipping a completely full 20-foot container, I mean completely full of household items, the increase on that, it's probably going to be around $2,000.
Okay. And
$1,500 to $2,000.
So the 40-footer would be around $13,000 to $14,000.
13 to 14, correct? And if full packing, that means that could look more like 16 or 17,000. but there is a good chance that that doesn't happen and that we can clear everything
Yes.
on their household goods. As per the household goods, do you think you will be filling up a 20-foot container, or do you think you will need more space for the household goods?
I think the 20 footer probably would do the job. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
Because
perhaps a little bit more. Right?
can I for example build like out of 2x4s inside the container, like that on top of the vehicle, sort of like a platform that would accommodate the more items.
Well, yes. However, if you think that a 20-foot container would be okay to ship all the household goods, what I'm thinking is that if you get a 40-foot container and you ship the vehicle and the household goods together, including the tools, you're probably going to have plenty of space, because I'm estimating that, let me see what are the dimensions. What is the length of the Jira?
Oh,
I mean, it should be something around 15 feet long.
Yeah. It's a smaller size vehicle.
So
yeah, it's 14-15 feet. It's not very large.
I have it here. It's about 180 inches, 180 inches.
Yeah.
So that's about 14.9 feet.
Yeah.
So the inner dimensions of the 40-foot container is 39.5 feet long.
Okay.
So that means that after the vehicle, you will still have about 23 feet long of empty space, right?
Yeah.
So that is about 23 feet long. And then you have 7.7 feet wide.
Yeah, that's
and
plenty.
Then you have, if we get a high cube, a 40-foot high cube container, that would be about 8.8 feet high.
Yes. Yeah.
So that gives us about 1,500 cubic feet.
Yeah, that's a plenty. Yeah, we don't have that many pieces of furniture. So
Okay.
we have to
So as you
calculate
can see,
if 20 is enough or we go with the 40. We'll still have to put it on the paper and see how much exactly it is and so forth.
Right. So a good option, if you're thinking on filling up a 20-foot container just for the household goods, the best option is that you ship the vehicle and the household goods in one 40-foot container.
Oh.
You will also have the option to ship the vehicle and whatever fits inside a 20-foot container. But that will give you a very small volume for household goods.
Okay.
Probably something about 150 cubic feet.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's only 10% of what you could bring in a 40-foot container.
Yes.
And the 40-foot container, it's only from $3,000 to $4,000 more. So the most cost-efficient solution would be to ship the vehicle and household goods together in a 40-foot container.
Perfect. Outstanding. Now, I think that would just about do for now. We have to negotiate and decide basically what it is that we really want to ship, and when it comes to the space, is 20 footers going to be enough or sufficient, or we're going to end up choosing the 40 foot and so forth. So we have some details we have to sort out first.
Okay, very good. One last thing that you should consider is that if you want to exempt import duties and taxes, your shipment needs to arrive in Panama in less than 6 months from your last entry to Panama.
Oh, And are we required to be in Panama in person, you know, when they arrive, or that's not a factor?
Yes, you will be required because of the vehicle.
Oh, understood. Okay.
So it will be necessary that, actually also for household goods, because what just came to my mind is that for the vehicle, you have to be present to physically sign,
Yes.
right, to get the release of the vehicle. But for household goods, we will also need your original passport. So that means that you must be in Panama,
Yes.
and you cannot be out of Panama while doing the customs process because of the passport.
Is it that the passport is the of relevancy, or our e-cedula or our permanent residency card? Which is the document of
both.
choice? Both. Okay.
Both will be needed, but the probably the one that holds you in Panama is the passport, right?
Yes. Okay. Very, very good. Well, thank you so much for this information package. You know, we greatly appreciate, because this gives us guidance, you know, of how to go about doing this whole process, since we have never done this before. And it's extremely helpful, because there's so much to know, and only you would be able to help us on these things.
Yes, a lot of details, a lot of information. I'm sorry for giving all these details, but you know, it's important so you can make an informed decision, right?
Yes, and also, you know, we would appreciate it if you would please find out about the Friendly Nations visa, you know, in relation to any possible discounts, or if they are applicable or not applicable. You know, that would be very useful as well.
Sure, of course, John. I'll double check that with our customs broker and send you an email. So I have your email. As soon as I get a reply from our customs broker, I'll send you that email with the confirmation, and we can keep in touch through email. And you can always let me know once that your progress with your project.
Perfect.
And we can work on a quote for a specific scenario.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. We are very appreciative of all this information. Thank you again.
You're welcome, guys. It's been my pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
And we'll take care. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.